And
Yeah.
I'm getting none of the nice bits anymore. Nobody understands. They'll say, do you still do that little thing on your computer? I don't have any regrets about it.
Well, hello there and welcome to the About Small Business podcast. Now, some of you may notice a couple of episodes ago, I interviewed Rich and Aidan from Grandpa's Fish Bar. Now, in that episode, we discussed the marketing genius that basically made their business. And I'm really, really proud to be able to say that in this episode, I'm speaking to Emma Weatherburn from Zebra Marketing. Oh, sorry, Mint Moments.
Yeah, Mint Moments.
And did you say you were going through a rebrand?
Yeah, so it started off as Mint Zebra Media,
Right.
which was specifically just for marketing, but then I've switched it very slightly to Mint Moments because we're doing weddings and events now as well.
Right. You've made yourself quite a name in the local village as the brains behind Grandpa's Fish Bar's marketing campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would say that to the boys, but yeah, I guess so.
I think, to be fair, they did acknowledge that there wouldn't be the level of success that they're enjoying but for your efforts. So clearly they do regard you as part of the team. Maybe they don't tell you that.
Yeah, I'm going to have to hold that to them a bit more.
I think so, just to put your rates up.
Yeah.
But what's your background then, Emma?
It's very, very varied, to be honest.
I was going to say, you offer quite a lot of different services, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, initially, when I started out, I grew up always wanting to be a teacher. That's where I began. Came from a very working class family. So mum was a nurse, dad was a fireman.
Right.
Obviously, I just thought, well, teaching is the only other thing that you can do. So I was a primary school teacher for about 7 years.
Right, okay.
Left that. And at the time, I was just going through a bit of I don't really know what I'm going to do next. But I knew teaching wasn't for me anymore.
As a former teacher myself, what was it about the job that...
I absolutely loved it at first. I thought it was the best job in the world. But then... I specifically remember it was October half term and I was at Dobby's Garden Centre with my mum and we were having a cup of tea, and I think it was the Thursday and I was due to go back on the Monday, and I just sat there and went, you know what, I can't do this anymore. My to-do list was just so long. The hours that teachers work are just crazy, and it was just getting more and more and more. So I went in on that Monday and just handed my notice in with nothing to go to at the time. I just thought, I'm going to figure this out.
Was that scary?
Not at the time, no. I just remember thinking that when I walked out of the head teacher's office after handing in my notice, just feeling a huge wave of relief. I didn't know what I was going to do. I ended up going into educational sales for a little bit. So I still stayed in the educational world, I suppose. So I stayed there for a little bit. And then realised, education's, although yes, it was something I was very passionate about while I was younger, because I was no longer working with children anymore. It was kind of like, well, I'm not actually seeing the reward. All I'm doing here is going into schools, selling them things, and I'm getting none of the nice bits anymore.
Yeah, it's the funny places to deal with as well, aren't they? It's like it's so hard to actually speak to anyone, making a decision, and then the time constraints. It's kind of a perfect storm at the minute, I think, within the education industry. But no, I think going back to what you were saying, that wave of relief.
Yeah.
I think that kind of overrides any kind of fear, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%.
It's like you just sort of, because I know when I handed my notice in, I just needed to.
Yeah.
And like yourself, it's like I had some ideas, but I think I can just do better on my own.
Yeah, you get to the point where you think, you know what, for me anyway, I just thought, I can't keep doing this because my anxiety levels were so high. I was just, if I hadn't done it, I think I would have had a full-on breakdown.
It's alarmingly common. Really, it's alarmingly common.
Very, very common now. So anyone that's still doing it, hands up to them, because they're doing a great job, especially now. It's even harder now.
Just with what you're saying about your parents, they obviously work in public sector.
Yeah.
Are they still working in the public sector, or have they since retired?
No, so my dad actually passed away just before I left teaching.
Right,
which I think was part of the reason I ended up leaving.
Right.
So he passed away in the September, and then I handed my notice in in the October sort of time. And then that meant that my mum then retired, so that neither of those, my mum or dad, are working anymore.
Right.
But everyone in my family is quite, they're all in the public sector, they're all employed. So whenever I talk to them about what I do, nobody gets it. Nobody understands. They'll say, do you still do that little thing on your computer? And I can, have a camera in front of me, I can show them what I've been doing, and they just don't get it at all. They still think that having a job, a proper job, as they would say, is the safest option.
I think the thing is, obviously you're a lot younger than me, but when I was growing up, certainly there was this perception that jobs were jobs for life.
Yeah.
And I had a very, very brief spell in recruitment, and I remember looking at CVs of people who had been in the same place for maybe 30, 40 years, and it was just, even back then, it was sort of people were jumping from job to job to enhance their career prospects and get different experiences.
Even one of the educational sales jobs that I had, although it was a job, I was actually made redundant from that job.
Right.
So even though I was made redundant
Yeah.
and started doing what I'm doing now, my family are still very much of are you going to get a proper job? Even though I was made redundant from what they would think is a proper job.
I think that's a crucial thing, though, isn't it? It's like so you can be made redundant. And I mean, as a business owner, you have to put yourself first. You might want, with the best will in the world, to look after your employees as best you can, but I think the thing is, it's like if you are self-employed, I mean, it has its down points, but you can see things coming, and you can react to
you can manage the cash flow, you can see what's happening, you can put money aside if need be. It's a lot easier for me personally anyway to manage my own time and manage my own finances and everything like that.
And obviously you've got a young family now as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we've got a 2-year-old little boy, so being able to, it's really good actually, because I only work full time 2 or 3 days a week, and then I get the other half of the week completely just me and him, and it's lovely. I'm never going to get that time back again, so for me, I couldn't go back to being employed anymore. It's too precious this
I think that is interesting. I mean, there's a number of people that I've spoken to on this podcast that have all said the same thing, just in terms of there are downsides, there are challenges, but fundamentally that control that you have, you don't want to give that up. No. So few people want to give that up. I mean, some people find jobs and that's great, and it's obviously everyone's got to make the most of their own situation, but I completely agree with it. It's I like to think I've worked hard for anyone that I have worked for, but I don't like being told what to do.
No, I think as well, being able to manage my own time and my own diary, I'll work a little bit harder knowing, right, well, I've got to get all of this done within this amount of time, and then I can switch off. You know
it's for you, don't you?
Yeah. Whereas if I was, sitting at a desk 5 days a week, I'd probably, be like, I'll do a little bit now, and then I'll have a break, and then I'll do a little bit more. But because it's for you, you work as hard as you need to work. Yeah, absolutely. So, in terms of your teaching, what subject were you teaching? I was primary teacher.
You're primary teacher, so every day the jack of all trades and juggling.
Apparently so, yeah.
Did you have any, was it a BEd that you did or PGCE?
It was a BA, so I did a 4-year degree.
Right.
And then went straight into teaching year 3, which I absolutely loved. And sometimes I do sit there, especially at Christmas time, because that was the best time.
Yeah.
And think, maybe I should have stuck it out for another year. I do sometimes wonder, did I leave because my dad had passed away? And had I actually just, stuck at it a little bit more, would I have fallen back in love with it? I don't know, but I don't have any regrets about it.
No, I mean, for my personal perspective, I think things kind of happen for a reason.
Yeah.
I'm not religious, but I do think there's fate, and I think I think things happen for a reason. Because what I'm getting at, I suppose, is obviously I've seen some of the logos that you've designed, and you're clearly talented in that area. What made you decide social media management or the marketing? Yeah. Because I'm just going to quickly go through. I know you do. You make video.
Yeah.
You design websites.
Yeah.
General sort of social media management, sort of scheduling, sort of controlling the schedule posts. And I know you've got a number of clients that you do that for.
Yeah.
that's a lot of, to get back to your primary school hat, you're still juggling an awful lot,
Yeah,
aren't
and
you?
I think those skills, as a primary school teacher, you do juggle a lot. You've got your planning, your marking, 30 kids to look after, 30, well, however many lessons a week to plan. I've always been very, very good at, I guess, organisation and just... It sounds like I'm be bragging a little bit. I'm not. I am quite an organised person.
Yeah.
Within my friends and my family, people call me Monica from Friends. So they'll be like, oh, it's Monica again. I am very good at that side of things. And I guess I didn't do it all at once, obviously. I started with doing graphics for social media. So at the time, my husband, Rich, he was doing a lot of networking.
Yeah.
And he had a networking group in Durham. And he, at the time, I'd just left teaching, wasn't really sure what I was going to be doing. And he just said, you know what, Emma, why don't you just do a few posts for this for me, see what you can do, get some more people to this networking group. So that's what I did. I just sat there, and at the time I was using Canva, which, lots of people use Canva nowadays. Yeah. It's very, very easy to use. And when I look back at what I did then, I'm like, oh God, that was dreadful. I can't believe that I put that anywhere. But that was 7 years ago now.
Yeah.
And then over time, I've just gradually introduced more and more skills. It's all self-taught stuff. You can watch YouTube videos nowadays on anything.
I think, to be fair to yourself, though, Canva, obviously I'm aware of the tool, but you still have to be able to choose something that you recognise works.
You do, yeah. There was, when Rich, my husband, started one of his businesses, he did just try to do some himself, and I can remember coming downstairs looking at it and being like, no, you're not putting that anywhere, that's dreadful. And he was really proud of it, and he was like, I think that looks good.
Oh, bless him.
Rich, you can't put that anywhere.
I feel sorry for him now.
Yeah, so I started doing that for him.
Yeah.
Over the years, I've just taught myself how to do websites, graphic design. I did a photography course. And all these things have just turned into a bit of a one size fits all sort of thing. So I can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where I am now.
What is it that you're using for your websites? Are you WordPress person?
WordPress,
or Wix, or?
yeah. I started with Wix because that is obviously by far the easiest. It's, drag and drop. It's very, very easy. But then as time went on, learned how to do WordPress. I've learned very, very basic coding, but I don't think many people even really ask for that anymore, especially with AI and things that are coming in. It's
interesting. Again, another guest, Kane Mitchell from Mitchell Digital, he's based over in Barnard Castle, and he was chatting. I've noticed a few things he's been posting on LinkedIn regarding AI.
Yeah,
and he's because for me, I enjoy the front end development side, which is like you might use yourself with a WordPress, Wix. That side. I use a program called BlocksApp, which is made by a company in the northeast. But he's been saying a couple of times he's been making apps using AI, and he said where he's saying it helps him is because he does understand the code, so he can kind of get in, which I suppose is going to be where your coding will be quite useful.
I think a lot of people, AI is a very hot topic now. A lot of people don't necessarily see how it's going to fit in with their day-to-day life moving forward. But if you start to learn how to use it now, you're going to be ahead of so many other people. I do think it is absolutely essential for everyone now.
I think you're right, yeah. It's there's a lot of talk, particularly within obviously your industry, the marketing industry, and I think people are talking more about what they can use it for.
Yeah.
Like your schedulers, your video editors is quite scary.
Yeah, it is. I think this is why I did a little bit of a shift and decided, I'm going to learn how to use an actual proper camera, and because in 5-10 years time, I don't think that there'll be much need for someone to create a graphic for you or to do your social media for you, but for somebody to physically take photographs or a video of your restaurant or at your wedding or your gym or whatever it is, until they introduce robots, I can't see how that will disappear as fast.
No, I think you're right there. And what struck me, just to go back to, obviously, I'm familiar with the work that you've done for Grandpa's Fish Bar.
Yeah.
What struck me about it is the fact that the lads couldn't do that on their own.
No.
Quite simply because they're in it.
Yeah.
And what you've done, You know, they're both look lovely couple of lads. I you know, like them a lot. They've got a great quality product. I make no secret, anyone I tell, if they ask me what my favourite fish and chip shop is, it's Grandpa's Fish Bar in Lancashire. It's superb. But I mean, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear, to use a cliche. But what you've managed to do is capture their characters, the sort of playful nature, the relationship.
They're very different as brothers. You know, if you've ever seen the videos, you can see straight away who's the one that's the very serious one and the one that doesn't really want to be doing this but is being forced to. And then, you know, Rich is a little bit more playful and a bit more silly, I guess, with it. But
is that because he's badgered by you that he's got to be? He knows he can't get out of it.
I think so, probably. But even though Aidan, who is the more serious of them, knows, he knows he has to do it. He knows it works. He doesn't enjoy it necessarily. You know, I'll come in every Thursday with my camera and he's like, oh, God. But he knows it works. And once he sees the comments and he sees the likes coming in and he sees the messages coming in, and, you know, people are coming in from all over the Northeast, he's like, oh, actually that video worked really well and this worked really well, and they are doing very well, and their social media plays a huge part in that, you know. So it works. It does work.
It absolutely works. I think what's interesting there, and you know, at the risk of giving away your trade secrets, I don't think there's a massive secret about it. It's the fact that you've just said you go in every Thursday.
Yeah.
You're there. They're expecting you to go in. You've got that sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that is quite possibly where maybe a lot of other businesses fall down with their social media. It's like, because you do think, I can do all this myself.
You can't, you know, as business owners, you've got so much on your mind. Social media is not top of your list at all. It's really not. It's so far down there, but you've got to do it. Yeah. You know, I can remember a few years reading something that said, if you've got a business, but you're not marketing it well, it's a bit like being in a club and winking at a pretty girl from across the bar in a dark room. You know, nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to know that it's happening. You could have the best business around, but if you're not pushing it online, nobody's going to know that it's there. But it's more about being able to manage. A lot of people will just post any old thing and they'll be like, oh, I haven't posted today, I'll just post this. Or you've got to be consistent with it. If one week you do one post and the next week you do 5, the way that the algorithms on these platforms work, they'll think, oh, well, that person's just a bit all over the place. That business is here one week, gone the next, back the next. It starts to push you down so you don't reach as many people. Yeah. So it's the organisation that you have to get right, and that's where I guess having someone manage it. Yeah. I think that, as you say, that's where your skills are. Yeah. And then you've obviously clearly acquired the skills, and as you've mentioned, sort of turning up with a camera, and that. But that's the big thing. It's like, because I mean, it's you turn up. We need to do this now, and then for your business owner or the lads at Grandpa's Fish Bar, that's something they can tick off. Yeah. Rich has had a bit of a laugh. Aidan's like, thank God she's gone. But it's that time that is been committed or invested, I think is a better way to put it. They've invested that time, and invested in bringing you in, and then they know that's going to happen. Yeah, I'm sure once I leave, they breathe an absolute sigh of relief, but they know it's done and they don't have to think about it, and they just reap the rewards, I guess. I mean, one thing I'm going to ask you, they've got obviously a number of employees. Are there, I'm not asking you to name names, but are there any employees that don't want to be involved and just refuse? No, nobody's point blank said, don't put me in the videos. There are, I mean, you can tell when we ask them to do certain, who wants to do it and who's not. Like some of them, I'll not name names because I don't want to offend any of them. But there are some of them that are more up for it than others. Yeah. But nobody has said no. And if they did say no, that's absolutely fine. That's, I mean, just for context, they're quite funny videos, aren't they? Yeah. It's that's how you kind of getting the attention out there, making amusing content to entertain. Yeah. But no, I mean, just out of curiosity, because I'm aware, my wife's a head teacher at a school, and she's spoken to, she's keen to get video content, and there are members of staff, and you'll know as a former teacher that just they're a big no. No. Yeah. And a lot of people are just, they're nervous about being on camera. Yeah. And it's,
How would you deal with that if you went to a business?
I think you've got to try and ease them in very gently.
Yeah.
So I have worked with businesses very similar to what you've just said, who've, they've approached me and they've said, we know we need to do social media, but we don't want to be silly. We don't want anything that's controversial. We don't want, anything where we're going to get negative feedback, or I'm not comfortable really in front of a camera. The way that social media works now, you don't necessarily even have to talk to the camera. You could just film, I don't know, say the lads frying fish, and then have, words over the video. You don't have to be laughing and joking, and you can ease people in very, very gently. And then when they start to see that those videos are working, then they begin to open up a little bit more, and they're like, okay, I'll actually speak and introduce myself today. And then the next week they might agree to, do a silly mime or something. It's just gradually easing them in, but you have to start very small sometimes.
It's I suppose about connecting with the people as well, isn't it? Sort of just building that client customer relationship as well.
It's not something that happens immediately. You've got to build a bit of trust and a bit of relationship, and once they see that you're doing a good job for them and they can see it's working, then they're more happy to, I guess, go with my ideas are always a little bit more out there, I'd say, because I know that if you're controversial and you're a little bit silly and stuff, that works.
Yes.
But for some people, that's just like, absolutely no, not doing that, which is absolutely fine. So it's just about gradually finding what they're comfortable with, and just going from there, I guess.
I mean, I think that the best example is the vegan thing. I mean, it's Did that come about by accident? I forgot to ask them this because
I can't remember exactly how it started.
Well, I know neither of them have got an issue with vegans.
No, not at all.
And Rich did tell me that the previous owners did have quite an extensive. They felt quite strongly about it.
Yeah, they had quite a big vegan menu.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of people thought that the lads were just taking over that shop, and hadn't quite realised that actually it's a completely brand new business. If they'd opened a burger bar or something, they wouldn't have had the vegans saying any of this stuff.
So I think that was it. It kind of came about as they didn't fire the first shot, as it were. They were sort of fired upon, and it's like, actually this. I suppose you must have noticed that. It's like this is getting a lot of engagement.
Yeah, I mean, rightly or wrongly, you've got to poke a bit.
It's I don't think, in fairness, I don't think you've said anything horrible or offensive, have you?
I'm very, very careful that we never say anything where there's going to be backlash.
Yeah.
If somebody is offensive to the lads, I might poke them a little bit, but I never, I'm not rude to them. I'm not I don't do anything where there's going to be headlines all of a sudden saying Grandpa's Fish Bar or, whatever. But it works, it has worked. And I think it's because you get a bit of backing from people who've been to the shop, and they'll start commenting saying, actually, it's a really nice place, and then other people start commenting, and then it gets shares, and it just ends up growing organically. So a lot of people will put money into their Facebook marketing, so they'll pay for ads, and they'll boost posts and everything like that. Grandpa's hasn't done a single penny on anything like that. Absolutely every single follower, every like, every comment,
all organic.
It's just from organic marketing. So.
Right. I know the lads have got plans to grow. Would you anticipate that you'll be sort of looking into doing any paid?
Not as things are currently going. So, I mean, even the just for context, the page, well, they opened in March.
Yeah.
And it's now, September? And they're just at about 8,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I imagine by the end of this year, they'll have 10,000. Every month, it's just gradually going a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And until that plateaus, why would you put money into boosting posts? There's no need. It's organically growing every single month. So as long as that keeps going, then they don't really need to boost the posts.
And how often actually are they posting?
6 or 7 times a week. So they are posting every single day. I wouldn't recommend that for every business because that's not sustainable. It's just because, they do have me. So I am there all the time, and I'm Richard's wife. So it is, it helps me.
You've got a vested interest.
Yeah, exactly, of course. Usually what I'll say to businesses is 3 to 4 times a week because it's manageable. it's not overtaking your life. You're not having to come up with hundreds of ideas,
Yeah.
but it's enough that you're going to keep putting out new content and growing, growing the business.
And you're very much pushing video, and the reason I'm
Yeah.
bringing that up is because you'd said earlier on that you did a photography course.
Yes.
So are you using much of that for the lads?
Not loads of that for the lads. That was very much because I've gone into weddings a little bit. So
Right.
as well as doing business side of things, I am going to weddings where I'm doing photography and content creation as well for weddings. So that was more for that.
Yeah.
I do sometimes take the proper camera into the shop to take photos and things, but most of their content is just shot on an iPhone and it's videos. So.
I suppose it lends itself to TikTok and the
Yeah,
Instagram,
very much
Facebook
so.
Reels.
Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
You're moving forward into weddings, and
Yeah.
that's something that you'd said to me sort of off camera. That's the direction that you're going to be taking, and it is interesting. Obviously, I play a number of weddings, and the other night we were playing at a wedding, and they'd got a videographer, they'd got a photographer, and a content creator.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it's going to be very long before it's just the content creator?
No, and I do feel for videographers, because they must be quite frustrated that actually someone is just turning up with an iPhone and filming. A videographer is obviously a much more skilled person. That the quality of what they produce at the end is always going to be a lot better. They've got drones, they've got great editing software, great cameras, wonderful lighting. It is going to be better, but I think that's more of a personal thing. So usually your videographer will do a much longer video, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever it may be. Whereas the way that the world is now, everything is social media.
Yes.
And all a bride or groom generally wants is to wake up the day after their wedding and post a video saying, we're married, look at this is the day. And that's what a content creator does.
I was thinking back to my own wedding, actually, the other day. I mean, my brother-in-law, he brought a camcorder along and made a video on VHS. God, I sound really old. But he made that, and I can't remember. I don't even know where that is now.
Yeah.
And obviously there was no copy, and our wedding album, which a very sort of grand affair. I think I might know where it is, but
they were very grand things, weren't they? And it's just, and actually, it is a bit of a shame that that's not as big a deal anymore. Everything's just on Facebook, everything's online.
What is interesting, I don't know, I've noticed a couple of apps that seem to be coming out, because both my daughters have just got free prints.
Okay.
And they've sent off through some app, just sent a load of photos that they're now printing out and putting on the wall. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder if that might make a comeback, but I don't know with a wedding album, as I say. I mean, mine's it's like a grand Bible or something, but not looked at as often. I think just if you've got a few really nice photos on your phone, it's hard finding the time just to sit and enjoy the photos. And again, I'm not like you. I'm not very well organised, and. My photos, it's just like this splurge of stuff that's on my camera, and I think you do sort of miss a lot through that. But I think you're right with the social media. That in itself does organise things for you.
And I actually am one of those people that does like physical copies. I still print my photos out. I have albums. Like I am so one of those people. But the majority of people aren't like that. So if a bride and a groom wants to wake up and just, have a highlight of their day they're usually 3 or 4 minutes long. I'll put the music, which was their first dance, over the top of it. And they can share it immediately to all their family, all their friends. And every year Facebook will pop it back up again.
I was just going to say that.
And they'll share it again.
I was just going to say that. And that's a crucial thing, isn't it? It's like you've got, I suppose, this machine that does all that for you. And, you can maybe do that if you hire a photographer, videographer. But basically they're just kind of doing... I've got to be careful what I say now, because I don't want to be putting these videographers and photographers start shouting at the screen. But yeah, I mean, it does make sense. I suppose I can see where you're coming from if you do have all three, because their content, the photographs, the videos, can make the way. I suppose if bride and groom do the proper negotiations can
Yeah.
make their way into
I mean,
the
the
memories that
style
you
of
create.
they're all very different. So a videographer captures the full day, whereas what
Yeah.
I'm trying to do and content creators do is capture the things that people don't necessarily notice. So it'll be, you know, while the bride's getting her dress steamed, or, you know, she's getting her makeup done, I'll like pop in round the corner where she might not necessarily know that I'm there. And you know, when I'm sending these videos off to the brides, their responses are often like, oh my God, I didn't even realise you caught that. I didn't even see that you were there. And, you know, it's amazing. And I'm in tears. And it's because they're still so emotional from the day before,
Yeah.
getting it to them straight away. They're so appreciative. Whereas photographers and videographers, it can sometimes take a really long time for it to get done because there's a lot more to go through.
Yeah.
But if you're getting it, you know, something the day after you wake up, then gets shared everywhere straight away, which is good for me because then, you know, my business is getting shared everywhere.
Absolutely. No, but
Yeah.
so I mean, in terms of the way you're producing then, you've mentioned Canva. Are you mainly just on your phone with that? Because obviously I know Canva's a phone app, and I don't know in terms of like any videos that you edit, are you doing that on the phone as well? Or?
I don't do that on the phone just because I like to have the full length of their songs on,
Right.
which you can't usually do. TikTok only usually lets you have a minute, and
Yeah.
you know, I want them to have their full song, whatever their first dance was. So I usually end up with 200 videos or something on my phone, upload them all to the big computer, and then just sit there and edit it on some video editing software.
Yeah. What is it you're using, just out of interest?
For the video editing, it's CapCut.
Ah, right.
Yeah,
So
which is also very, very easy to use.
it's there's been a lot of controversy about CapCut just
really?
lately. Yeah, they've updated their terms. I think that basically they've said that I think you kind of have to agree that they can use any content or something like that. I'm sure if someone gets quite cross if I've got that wrong, they can put that in the comments. But I don't think it really sort of matters for what you do, because social media, you kind of giving Facebook those rights anyway, so you share
Yeah.
stuff. CapCut it has done something broadly similar, and I know a lot of videographers have got quite cross about that and they've moved away from that intentionally. If you're enjoying this content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell to let you know exactly when another podcast's going to drop.
You can use templates and things on
Yeah.
CapCut, so I wonder if that's what it is. But once you've uploaded something, someone else can use it
Yeah.
and just edit it. It probably is something like that.
Yeah, but as I say, for someone like yourself, that doesn't matter. I mean,
No,
it's just a nice, easy to use tool.
Yeah.
And what it does amazingly is obviously the subtitles, captions.
Yeah. I mean, usually when I do captions and things, that is straight on my phone and it'll just go
Yeah.
on to TikTok and TikTok does it for you. It's very, very clever. But all of these tools, they use AI so well now.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned earlier, if you learn how to use AI, you're one step ahead and you're always
Yeah.
going to be a little bit more in the know than a lot of people who just think, oh, you know, that's never going to take on. It is going to take on, and you've got to learn how to use
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Now, and you've mentioned just say that you do seem to be doing a lot within the apps for TikTok. Is that the same for Instagram as well, or?
Usually, yeah. So I mean, we don't use Instagram as much, to be honest.
Right.
All the content goes across TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah.
But it does the best on Facebook and TikTok. So
Right.
not really sure why that is, because it's all the same. But
I'm finding it quite interesting because I've started, because I publish from my business, The Punctuation Show. I'm on every day and sharing my songs. TikTok's taken a bit of a drop for that, but Instagram's just had this quite a big boost in engagement.
TikTok's just changed its algorithms. I don't know if you'll have noticed, but you can only use 5 hashtags now, and you used to be able to use 30. And
Right.
they change all the time. You know, one week they'll be pushing one thing, the next
Yeah.
they'll push another. Our TikTok has dipped slightly lately.
Right.
So it's because the algorithm's changed. But if you just keep consistent with it, it'll
Yeah.
eventually pick back up.
This is why I wanted to speak to you. It's like free marketing advice that I'm not having to pay for. It's great, but No, it's a the other thing is obviously for the podcast, I'm sending out like again a daily reel from a clip from one of the podcasts, and that's been sort of fairly consistent, sort of up sort of between sort of 700 to 1,000 views a day from that, and that seems to, even though I've got more followers for the punctuation show, and I think that's the beauty of it, and where you've maybe found a good bit of success for the lads, is like TikTok does seem to be better for outreach.
Yeah, and if you're doing it, daily, like you say, you'll get rewarded for that.
Yeah,
so
it's paying dividends, and just it's just finding the time to sit down and
edit it and get it up. I know. Tell me about it.
That's it. But basically, for you, then you've got your clients.
Yeah.
You're going to be doing more with the weddings and that kind of thing. Do you anticipate that you're going to start to push the client side more, or are you sort of thinking the weddings is going to be the way forward?
The weddings, mainly because AI, which I've mentioned several times. I just think the way that the world is going, less businesses are going to need someone to do their social media. It's still going to be fine for the next year or so, I think.
Right.
But, pretty much everyone uses ChatGPT now.
I was going to ask you which are your tools of choice then for AI?
Well, I use ChatGPT all the time.
Yeah. Are you on the paid version or?
No, I actually just have the free version.
All right.
Yeah, I just have the free one. I haven't found a need to upgrade it yet. So I only really at the minute use that every day. And that within things like Canva and Lightroom and CapCut, they all have AI tools within them.
Yeah. So do you have the full Adobe suite as well?
Yeah.
Then? Right.
Yeah, and they all have, previously you'd be spending hours, days editing something out the background of a picture, and now you literally click it and it's gone.
Yeah.
So the more that technology advances, the less skills a human needs, and people are going to start just thinking, oh well, I can do that myself now because I've got AI to do it for me.
I think, as you've said, with the videographers and photographers, there is that thing. So, I mean, I think was it 28 years later? Filmed on an iPhone 16.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I've seen some of what the 16 can do. The iPhone 16 can do. And I think the big game changer was that you can use external storage.
Right. Okay.
With the iPhone 16, with it being USB-C, that means that you can store massive files, and the massive files that you can record on your iPhone, that you can then sort of edit and adjust exposure and things like that within Final Cut from the raw file. And then I think the other day, the 17 has just been announced. 17 Pro.
Yeah.
So
I haven't looked at it yet, but I imagine it's going to be.
It's not as big a deal as what it used to be.
No, it used to be huge, didn't it? Yeah. And everyone would sit there and wait for it, and what's it going to look like?
Yeah, I'm a bit of an Apple nerd. I mean, I'm mainly sort of Apple Mac computer wise, but so I'm signed up for these alerts from Apple, but even they're not as big and in your face anymore. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about the consistency. It's like they seem to have maybe dropped the ball a little bit on that. I don't know.
I don't know if it. It's funny because when you used to get an iPhone for Christmas, and you'd spend, or even just a phone, and you'd spend all day updating it and playing with it and learning what you could do with it. But now you get one, and all you have to do is take out your old SIM card, put it in the new one, and it's exactly the same phone. It's just on a better model. So it's just, everything's almost a little bit too easy now. Yeah. And that's just going to keep going.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's we may all get replaced, but I do agree with you with what you're saying in terms of like that the person behind the camera to capture, and I do think that the advent of AI is gonna offer some opportunities for very human things. And I've noticed that, like say at weddings, obviously I play in a band. And I think it's going to be sort of some time to go before you can fully replicate that. I mean, obviously, you can have a disco, you don't have to have a band. But
it's having the human that makes it
Yeah.
And until, a robot band isn't going to be the same,
No,
is it? It's just not. It's not. Not until they look like us and walk
No,
like us and talk like us.
And I think that is a really scary note. Normally I finish off these interviews by asking what the future holds for you. We know the direction you're going to take it. Do you think you are going to be sort of doing weddings and events like that full time, or?
I would love to. I don't think that that's going to happen overnight, No. For a start as well, I'm not just going to suddenly tell all of my clients, by the way, see ya. I would let that side of things naturally come.
I'm going to say, I would imagine
end.
that would be, from what you're predicting, that's going to be the other way around.
Yeah, definitely. And then hopefully, the weddings will become more of a full-time thing. I'll always still do grandpas because I don't imagine they'll get rid of me. But yeah, I
think they'd be mad to.
Well, I do too. As much as they don't like their Thursdays, but I think that the wedding side of things will become more of a full-time thing, hopefully.
Brilliant. Well, Emma, it's been fascinating. I think there's so much content, and the insights that you've given anyone that's been prepared to watch this. It's been fantastic. I really enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much for coming on.
You.
Cheers.